Hello and welcome to TCG Buzz. One of these days you're going to get to do the intro. That day is not today.
Oh, we'll see. Howdy there, card folk. I'm Speedrobo, and that guy's Jacob. And in today's episode, it's going to be pretty loosey goosey, pretty unscripted. We are just going to brainstorm and spitball 100 game ideas.
Yeah, this is something you and I do all the time on our free time. And I thought it would be really fun for us to just sit down and record one of these sessions where we're spitballing ideas for multiple reasons. One, uh, it would actually be cool to see a lot of these games be made. We just don't have the time. How many projects do we have like in the works right now already? Too many.
Yeah.
None of these would get done if we were working on them.
No, it's literally like on my docket of projects to get done for Speed Robo games. We already have too many games. I'm having to push stuff that I planned for this year back into next year. And there are some like projects that have crossed my desk that I was like pretty looking forward to like signing and getting going and into the production line. And I've had to, you know, tell people, hey, we're gonna have to like wait. It now's not the time. Like there's just too much shit going on.
Another reason is you and I have both really been wanting to find time to do a game jam, and it's just not happening. It's we do not
No,
have the time for that. So this is our TikTokification of doing a game jam. Why do one game jam when you can do the easiest part of the work for 100 game jams?
exactly. It's one of those things where I've actually been asked to join in several game jams, over this past year. 2 immediately come to mind, and as I've really wanted to do it, but I've just had to be an adult and say, "No, I just don't have time right now,"
Mhm.
which sucks, so this is my replacement.
And another reason is if we can inspire anyone out there to make a game and, throw out so many ideas and give people the idea that coming up with games isn't as hard as you might think. And especially like I see a lot of devs who are first time creators. They have one idea and they stick with it, right?
Mhm.
I'm showing you right now your first idea doesn't have to be your only idea. It's okay to say, actually, that's not working instead of putting all your eggs in that one basket and try other things, right? I mean, if we can come up with 100 ideas in whatever the time this is, an hour, 2 hours,
Yeah.
depends on how chatty we are,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can come up with two.
No, I completely agree. Like, I think I talk about my pet peeves as a game design consultant on this channel a lot, but one of them is absolutely me talking to somebody and saying, "Hey, maybe this part, even just this part of your idea, I don't think is working out. Maybe stop, pull back, rethink a bunch of stuff, and like work off of what is working and change, 50%, 70% of your game." And so many first-time devs and indie devs just have a death grip on their vision, and it's like, that is such a unhealthy way to approach game design. I think a good example in our history was, Junk World, one of our board games that we are releasing this year in November. That was something we made together, and let me tell you, it did not start at all like it ended up. The only thing we really carried over from the original vision is you have 2 arms that you put weapons into. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's literally it. Everything else came later with change and revision and figuring out what we actually wanted, which is something you will never start with. So we are just giving 100 starting points today. The way this is going to work is we're just going to spitball ideas. There's going to be no organization to this. We're going to jump around a lot. I've got crazy ADHD. You guys are just going to have to deal with it. For those watching the video of this, there will be a on-screen number tracking how many ideas we've come up with, and in the comments, you can use that number to talk about that specific idea.
Yeah. Also, we're saying 100, we're shooting for 100. We're not counting, we're not keeping track. It might be way less than 100. We might only get through like 20 today. I don't know.
Yeah, we might actually be really stupid. I said 100 because I thought it was a cool number for the thumbnail and the
Yeah, oh,
title,
yeah, it's going in the
our
thumbnail.
brains could short out at 3.
Yeah, who knows? Who
And,
knows?
a couple disclaimers for you guys. One, some of these ideas are literally just shitpost memes, stupid ideas, right? That's up to you to sort out which those are. I am serious. If you want to steal one of these, do it. You have our permission. It's not stealing. It's just funny to call it stealing.
Well, I actually wanna piggyback off that as well of, we're going to say ideas here, and somebody in the comments is gonna be like, idea 58 is actually, Zorglob protectors from 1989 tabletop role-playing game, and it's like, "Yeah, dude." I because another pet peeve of mine in this game industry is so many indie devs are just so iron grip locked in on, "I have to be unique, I have to be unique, I have to do something nobody's ever done before." No, dude. No, you don't. They like like, if you're worried about that, you're worried about the wrong things. So, riff on our ideas, take our ideas, and we are even going to accidentally pitch games that already exist.
Mhm. And the last one I'll say is, we're TCG brained guys. I mean, this is TCG buzz,
Oh,
but by no means are all of these ideas going to be strictly TCG. Some of them would fit better as ECG. Some of them would fit better as board games that are standalone. Some of them as video games. That's up to you to decide. Take the concept and do whatever the hell you want with it.
yep, make a tabletop RPG where, like, the goal of the game is to create the coolest guy in school. That's a game idea. There you go.
All right, are
Like,
you ready to start?
I already started, bro.
Oh, wait.
I just gave you one. Tabletop
Oh,
role-playing game. Goal of the game, coolest guy in school, and how you level up is by getting more and more, like, groupies or whatever, and, like, the different classes are gonna be like, oh, you could be, like, the football star, or you could do, like, a rock band, or you could be, like, the sweaty occult nerd that, like, curses people, and, like, that's the magic system.
yeah, that sounds cool.
There you go. Boom. Game idea.
I got ones kinda similar to that. Right on, what is your favorite game of all time?
Caster Chronicles.
Okay, what's your second favorite game of all time?
Zatchbell the Card Battle.
Okay, not helping. Third favorite game of all time.
Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Damn it! It's Millennium Blades.
Oh, yeah, it is Millennium Blades! I love Millennium
I've
Blades!
always thought it would be super cool. Millennium Blades, if you don't know, it's like a meta concept. It's a board game where you are players, like, building and playing through a trading card game anime, right?
Yeah.
I've always thought, man, that would be so cool if it was literally that concept, but a genre shift of, no, it's not a board game, it's a tabletop RPG.
So I have seen people attempt that before. I've thought about attempting it before, and I think where they always fail is that it like, trying to, like, play a TCG as the combat system is so, like, janked up and clunky. So I think how you could execute that is instead of rolling dice, if you have, like, the equivalent of a 52 card playing card deck or, like, Cardfight Vanguard's trigger system, and that's how you do your dice and randomization, then I think that would be the secret sauce to make it work.
Mhm. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I'd like the idea. The way you'd have to do it is to drastically simplify what the TCG gameplay is. I don't
Yeah,
want to actually play a TCG. That's not the important part. It's I
exactly.
want the interactions and experiences and, oh, I'm protagonist Coon, so I got to level up my card even though it was already in my deck, all that stuff.
Yeah, dude, that's fun. Or, like, you could play as, like, the sweaty rival character that's in every Yu-Gi-Oh! Show, and then if you're a girl, you just have a bad time.
That's 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 card game anime.
That is
Wait, let me
so card
rephrase.
game
That's
anime.
anime.
That is yes. Oh, 100%. It's just like, oh, man. And, like, if you're a girl, your 2 genres total side tangent, your 2 genres in anime are, you're a reincarnated villainess or you're a magical girl, which hold on, that's a game idea, okay? What if it's a game. Like, what game would work best for, like, the reincarnated villainous anime genre? I don't want it to be a tabletop role-playing game. Like, okay, no, hear me out. Hold on, I'm cooking in real time, okay? What if trading card game, where instead of being like a planeswalker or some shit, you are a reincarnated villainous from an Otome game, and the goal of the game is to make your opponent's, um like, protagonist card suffer the most and steal, like, all of her boys.
Building up your reverse harem.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, don't even try to tell me that doesn't sound fun.
It does sound fun. I'm gonna give that one to you. That's a fun one. Let me think. What are some ideas I can come up with? I like to do a lot of pitches that are like systems and concepts, as we talked about with Junk World, right? Like the
Mm,
starting point I started with was, what if I had two hands and could equip weapons to them, right? That's my starting point a lot of the time. So I'm gonna give you one of those right now off the top of my head, and it's gonna be really stupid because, that was one of the only good ones I had. Most of them are completely got it. Okay. You ever use Photoshop?
yeah, every day for my job,
You know how there's a
unfortunately.
little spinny wheel with the colors?
I hate where this is going, but yeah.
And you know how they've got like a hexadecimal code to tell you what color it is?
Yeah,
Oops, all colors. The Magic the Gathering clone where every single card is its own color identity, and
okay.
every single RGB hex value gets its own color.
Okay, 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 hold up. Because that whole I think you're cooking, actually. So, as a Cardfight Vanguard fan, where the game has, like, 15 quintillion colors in the form of clans, that shit actually gets me off. I'm in. I'm so in,
Colorblind
dude.
people, why have you forsaken me?
Well, you just print the hex value, like, under
Yeah, yeah,
the
they
yeah,
can reference the
they
number.
can just reference the hex value, dumbass.
That's really funny.
Alright,
Just don't
alright.
use Pantone colors, because they'll sue. Can I cheat for a moment?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because this is not a new idea, but I just thought of it because we were talking about that one and, like, stupid systems, right?
yeah.
I'm gonna recycle one. So if you guys don't want to count this one, that's up to you. We did a game jam that never went anywhere years ago. We're at a concept for a game that was all about ripping up your own cards. The
Yeah,
entire
I remember
TCG
that one.
was card ripping. So every time your like monsters on the field took damage, you'd have to take and like rip a tear in them. And if they got two tears in them, you'd have to rip the card into pieces and it was gone forever. And like your spell cards had to be ripped up to be activated, that kind of stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember us coming up with that idea because it was like, how do we make, like, the worst TCG of all time, right? And that was kind of
Well, it
the
was like a statement, right? It was like everything's
yeah,
become so like collectible focused and like investment
commodified.
focused.
Mhm.
Exactly. How do we do the exact opposite?
Yeah. So, I actually wanna transition into, um, a cokehead idea of mine, okay? And I want you to because 'cause I've been smoking on this one since before we even started recording. So, Jacob, what's your favorite Bushiroad TCG of all time?
Dragoborn.
Yes, exactly. See, I was setting you up. I knew you were gonna say Dragonborn,
Yeah.
even though it's a lie. Okay, now Dragonborn sucks cock and balls because it's a TCG that also uses dice. So there's like 2 points of randomization and it's stupid, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so I was
Stupid
sitting here.
good fun.
Stupid good fun, maybe, but stupid. So I was sitting here and thinking, how do I make that like worse? How do I make this even dumber and more toxic and more random and more bullshit and ensure that everybody will hate it as much as I hate Dragonborn? Well, I have the solution. Instead of dice, you get one of those spinners from the game of life, and that's your extra randomization point in your TCG.
How does it work? I'm sold. I
Okay.
wanna know what the function I want it to be the exact life spinner with the
Yeah, yeah, exactly, it does that. Okay, so I've thought about this, and I'm actually, like, so on board with this idea now, I think that this is going to slap. So how it works is you have like 6 panels on the spinner, and each one's a different color. And at the start of your turn, you go "duh-duh-duh-duh-duh-duh," and spin it, and whatever color it lands on is, like, the color that's active. So in, like, Battle Spirit Saga, you know, I have cards of, like, 3 levels, and each level gives them, like, a different superpower, right?
Mhm.
So each card would have 3 out of the 6 different possible colors, and depending on what color it's on, that's what ability is active for it, right?
Okay. What I
Now
really like about this concept is you could achieve all of this with dice, but I like that we're not and we're going way over convoluted.
no, no, but dude, this is where the secret sauce comes in because you can't do this part with dice. Because I thought about this. The spinner, the different, like the 6 different zones are removable. And so what you can do is you can play card effects that will allow you to remove one of the colored sections and replace it with a different colored section. So
I
if your
see.
deck is all like blue focused, you can say all these red sections fuck off. I'm putting in all the blue. And then now the game becomes like this like battle for control of the one central spinner because it's not one spinner per person. It's one spinner that all the players share. So it's kind of like the Digimon memory track, but less toxic.
More stupid.
Ye see
Yeah,
where
yeah, that's fun.
that's
I'm on board. Uh, no one steal that one. We're gonna use it. So I've got a question for you, right on.
all right, what's up, what's up?
What's your favorite game? Wait, we already did this. All right, I'm gonna tell you the answer, right on. Your favorite game is V Card, baby.
You damn, you know it, Shy Lily? Bro, Shy Lily is my best friend in the whole wide world. Fuck you, Jacob. Shy Lily's my friend now. Friendship with Jacob ended. The Shy Lily's now my best friend. Put that
Um,
I'll make that meme for you to
is
put in
that a
the Discord.
meme? Is that a meme? It's flashing on screen if I'm not
Oh,
a
no,
lazy
no,
editor.
no, there it is.
Oh, there it is. It's not gonna be there. I've got so much editing. I gotta count numbers and
We're
stuff.
not even like, it's funny that we're hyping up that we're gonna put the meme in the edit, and then we're just not gonna do it. That's gonna be even fucking better,
I
actually.
guess we'll find out later. But yeah, V card. So here's the thing with V card. If you don't know, Rhydon has made it his life purpose to cover this game and its various scams. And it's in its original version before it got so much backlash that they completely changed literally everything. It was a gambling game. It was a
Straight up.
game focused around like stealing permanently your opponent's collectible cards. And I think there's a way to do that well. I want Magic's anti system to be the core system of a game without the actual permanency. But imagine if you have to risk your cards, throw them into the anti pile, right?
Mm.
To activate your effects, and then your opponent gets to play out of those cards.
Ooh, okay. Well, I actually have an idea that kinda bounces off that. And this is, again, kinda like the Digimon memory system, but what if you had, like you know how in One Piece you have, like, your Dawn deck or in Force of Will you have your Rock deck, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
what if, you know, in One Piece where you do the Dawn -1, where you put a card from your Dawn deck from in play, the Dawn card from in play back into the Dawn deck? What if instead that was like, now it goes into the ante pool, and your opponent gets all of your Dawn that you put into the ante pool? Like, that could be really cool.
Mhm. It's
That's
that's
interesting.
probably more like board game that plays like a TCG kind of concept versus an
Yeah.
actual TCG who's doing that in a tournament with sleeve cards and everything's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
a nightmare. But yeah,
I think that could, like, work for, like, an ECG even, I think, more of like a boxed product, you know? Yeah, no, that's kinda dope, actually, I'm into that. Um, Speaking of different, like, TCG resource systems, one thing that always came to my mind is I talk with a bunch of other, um, game designers all the time, and one game that always comes up is Inscription, because Inscription is it is such a modern classic in the card
right.
gaming world.
It's one of those games that is worth mentioning anytime you're talking about that genre. It's like you can't talk about designing a roguelike without at some point bringing up Balatro, right?
Exactly. Yeah, right, exactly. It's like Balatro, like, in some ways redefined the roguelike. Inscription, like, redefined the digital card game. And I've seen so many people get inspired by so many different aspects of Inscription. I've seen people get inspired by Inscription's lane system. I've seen people get inspired by Inscription's, like, card fusion system. Shout out to Caleb Nelson's Necromancers that I published. That's product placement. But for me, what always inspired me about Inscription was actually not in the initial bit or the ending bit of Inscription. It was in the middle. It was in, like, the Game Boy pixel art version of the game where you had 4 different resource systems all working in such perfect and interesting harmony. You had Magic the Gathering style land cards in the form of Moxes. You had shadow versus shadow system in the form of your bones. You had Yu-Gi-Oh's tribute system in the form of blood, and then you had Hearthstone's mana system in the form of your energy. And somehow every single one of these elements played into each other and fused together so perfectly, and I would love to see that in an, like, actual physical game.
So I'm gonna be honest, I was not really listening. Uh, Great
Thanks, bud.
idea, and yes, we should. That is absolutely cool. Inscription, physical, hell yeah, all those. But I gotta be honest, I was thinking about that Andy system from
Yeah.
the last one.
God
It
damn it, J
hasn't left
alright.
my heart yet, and I've got a different take on it. Okay,
Okay, yeah, go off, go off.
okay. What is the thing that people really like about Magic the Gathering's four-player format? Besides
Uh,
it being four-player, it's the commander, right?
sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Here's my concept. You have a commander, a leader card, whatever you wanna call it, based on what your personal game taste is, right? And your deck goes under that card, okay?
Okay,
And cards, uh, from your deck, right, cannot be accessed whatsoever until you take damage, and then cards from the bottom of your deck become accessible as deck cards to draw from. Essentially, it's life decking, but in reverse.
okay, that's fucking sick. That's so cool. So then your only, like, creature in play when you get started is your, like, Dragon Ball Super leader card.
Yes.
And your entire deck is your Dragon Ball Super Life Zone.
Yes. And instead of
That's
them
actually
going
sick.
directly to your hand, which can actually be a problem for a lot of those systems,
Mhm.
they become your deck that you're drawing from.
That's
Because, like, when they
so fucking
instantly
cool.
go to your hand, that's just such a big benefit that it de-emphasizes, attacking, right?
Yeah.
So instead, they just become a pool of cards instead of instantly gaining you benefit and, like, maybe even shield triggers and stuff in some games,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And your opponent still has to get through you by knocking out all of your commander's life underneath them
Yeah.
to win the game, which actually solves a lot of the issues that life tech games have.
It
Really
solves a
cool
lot of the
idea.
issues that both Shield System and Life Deckers have, frankly. Because if
Mhm.
you're life decking in reverse, then the complaint of life deckers of "Boo-hoo, I wanted to play that card" goes away. And if the cards don't immediately become just raw value for you, it kinda removes the whole, "Well, then why the hell would I attack you?" problem that games like Dragon Ball Super have.
I like that one a lot.
That's genuinely I'm like, "Okay, hold on. I need to write that one down for, like, my unironic" wait, hold on. Unironic good shit. Life deck in reverse. That's actually crazy good. Damn.
I wanna bounce off of that and be like, "Yeah, I've got another really great one for you. Here's the poop game where you poop." You know?
Okay, okay. So if you just shared something from you that is a banger,
Mhm.
that is absolutely a banger, I actually want to flow into one of my game ideas, and this one's a little bit of a cheat as well because it's a game idea I've been sitting on for a while. But part of how I like to design games, genuinely, is I like to look at other games, digest them and think, "That was good, but how would I take some of those themes and concepts and do them better? Just like I was talking with Inscription, where Inscription was an inspiration. The original MetaZoo was actually an inspiration for a game idea that I started cooking up, and then when I was done, I took a step back and was like, "Oh, wait, this is actually a banger." So, in the original MetaZoo, there were 3 things, well, really 2 things about it that stood out to me as, like, this is the core of what makes OG MetaZoo OG MetaZoo. Um, Number 1, the stupid fucking piece of shit fourth wall gimmick. Dude,
Mhm.
that gimmick's so stupid. So, I was thinking, like, how do you make that not the dumbest mechanic humanity has ever seen? And the second thing about it is all of the weird specific terminology MetaZoo used was all related to, like, spell books, right? Like, drawing was bookmark a page,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all that stuff. So, what I was thinking about it was, number 1, with the spellbook thing, just use Zatchbell spellbooks then. Like, just do it. Just use that system. Dig up that system and use it. But there's a big, big problem with the Zatch Bell spellbook system that I've run into before is that the games become really lame when you're playing a trading card game and there's literally no variance at all. You just have your line set up and you just execute the line. Like you might as well be playing like an auto clicker at that point. And that's
Mhm.
kind of defeats half the point of TCGs. So you need some kind of randomness. That's actually where the fourth wall shit comes back in. And and so how I thought to do the fourth wall thing is that every critter would be like, "Oh, if it's raining, do like an extra thing." And how you determine if it's raining is you can just use the actual weather if you want to. If you and your opponent want to, you can do that. Or you can have a weather chart and roll 2d6, 2, like, specialty d6, and whatever symbols come up so, like, let's say the rain and city symbol came up. So now the environment is a city and the weather is the rain, so any cards that trigger off the city environment and the rain weather, they now have their superpowers in, and that, like, dice roll randomness actually injects the randomness, like, back into the spellbook system that it's sorely lacking, and that to me is like, "Oh, that's how you make, like, the core concepts of OG MetaZoo, like, cool. You know what I mean?
I like what you're saying, but I also think it's probably a little convoluted of a system for my taste. So let
Valid.
me throw that idea back at you.
Hit me.
Okay. I like where you're going. Let me take it and reflavor it.
Hit me.
Um, you and I are not parents, right? But we are in the age group where a lot of our friends are parents now. We've got
Mhm.
a lot of friends who have young kids. And I don't know if I need to tell you this. Young kids are annoying.
Yeah. Oh, I have to deal with them every weekend at my toy store, yes.
So let me use the Zatch Bell storybook spell book, right?
Mhm.
It's a spell book with linear cards. You put the cards in the pages and you're flipping through the binder as the game goes, right? Okay. Let us treat that as a linear story. It is a story you are telling your child at bedtime. And the deck of cards on the sides, this is a solo play game. You have to flip them over at random intervals, and those are the child interrupting, going, "No, I want a story with a knight in it."
That is so good. That's awesome. Yeah. That is fun. And so, like, when the child interjection happens, you have to flip over that card, and then one of, like, the 2 pages of your book that you're reading, you have to, like, replace with that and try and make it work. That's
Mhm.
that's a cool game idea.
It also reminds me of the greatest children's book ever written. There's a monster at the end of this book.
I've never heard of this book.
Uh, Put it up on screen, editor Jacob. It's one of the coolest children's books ever. It is a meta book where it's Grover from Sesame Street, trying desperately pleading you, the reader, not to turn the page of the book.
That's
So
amazing.
like on the page, he puts up a bunch of like he puts a brick wall behind it, like, haha, now you can't turn the page. And you turn the page, and it's like, oh my god, you turned the page. What are you doing?
what an amazing dude, I love stuff like that.
Guys, please confirm in the comments if you as a child read There's a Monster at the End of This Book. Maybe my favorite childhood book.
It's so cool. I just looked it up, and I was just looking at, like, the scans of it, and I'm like, "This is such a cool children's toy." Wow. I love stuff like
Uh
that.
how do we get back on track, right on? I don't know. I'm
Well, I
just
mean,
thinking about
there's another
childhood
game idea. Do
memories
more
now.
I don't know, do more stuff like that. But, okay, so if we're talking about MetaZoo, there's another game that comes to mind in that category, made by a buddy of mine, Vic, Nom Nom Verse. So, Nom Nom Verse tried to be a fusion of, like, and this is just something that we are kinda talking about earlier, of a fusion of, like, a, dungeon crawling role-playing game and a trading card game. I don't think I'm sorry, Vic, but I don't think it was very successful at that. I think it wound up just being a little clunky. So, my thought is, like, how do we unclunk that? And so my kinda thought process was, what if it's a card game where you and your opponent are both teams of adventurers racing each other to get to the end of a dungeon and be the first one to just kill the boss, right?
The game I think of immediately when you say that is the Naruto CCG, because it was all about
Yes!
you being opposite teams trying to complete missions, but it never
Yes.
had like a final boss for both players to try and fight and beat first. That's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, exactly, and, like, this wouldn't be a trading card game because Vic was like, "I'm gonna make it a trading card game." For this, when you have, like, the unified boss, it'd be more like, kinda like Marvel Legendary, but you aren't necessarily on the same team.
And it's not a deck builder.
No, no, it's not a deck builder, but speaking of deck builders, I want you this is gonna be a hear me out. It's gonna be a hear me out. 'Cause I rail against this exact kinda, like, game design hoopla all the time where it's just like, "I'm gonna mash 2 genres and not think about the consequences." But I think TCG Deck Builder can work, and this is how I would do it. You bring your marketplace as essentially your constructed deck. So, like, you know how in Dominion everybody's working off the same 10-card marketplace? In
Mhm.
this, each player brings their own individual 10-card marketplace, and that's their buying pool. And then everybody has like the same starter deck of like chump cards, or maybe the starter decks change depending on what like faction you're focused on. Sure, whatever. And then throughout the course of the game, you like buy cards from your own marketplace to add to your deck. And but now it's like it's a TCG. What makes it like a TCG is that you aren't working off of the same, like, marketplace pool.
I see. So, that's cool. Don't have much to say on it, but you got me thinking about deck builders,
Yes.
and I don't enjoy playing deck builders in person that often, because I don't know if you know this, but I'm kinda blind,
That is a good point.
right?
Yeah.
And even if I wasn't, like, it's annoying when you're playing with say, a group of 4 people playing a deck builder with, like, an element of, buying cards from the center of the table for your deck. Like, Legendary, right? That's the deck
Yeah.
builder style game I'm most familiar with. So, I was just thinking, uh, what if we didn't do that, but we still had the gameplay of auctioning for cards? The problem for me is the card effects. So, how do we make a deck building game where card effects don't matter? May I present to you? Because if there's one thing I love other than stupid game concepts, it's puns.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I present to you my new deck builder called Deck Measuring Contest.
Okay. Okay.
It is a
Okay.
game where the actual cards being put into your deck don't matter. What matters is the size of your deck.
Love it. That's so good, actually.
You'd have to figure out some systems to help with that, if you're taking that idea, but that's gold. That's
That's
great.
so good, and honestly, I'm gonna be real with you, dude, that's giving me, like, ogre sandwich vibes in all the right ways, you know what I mean? Shout out to
Mhm.
Strange Machine. Um, that game's a banger. I love that one.
So it's like, the entire goal of the game is just to have a bigger deck than your opponents, and you pay
That's
for your cost by discarding cards from the top of your deck, right?
that's so good.
So you can't play that really, really cool card you wanna play until you have 90 cards in your deck.
I love it. That's so good, dude.
And then maybe, like, the way you balance turns is by using the deck refresh. You get to play as much as you want until your deck is empty, then you just gotta sit there and wait till everyone else empties their decks, and then
That's good.
everyone reshuffles at the
No,
same
that's
time.
good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm with it. I'm with it. That's a solid one.
I gotta think about puns some more. I like puns, and puns
You're a
are w
you're a puns guy, I'm not a puns guy. What I love about our brainstorming sessions is that you're very much like a names and flavors and jokes guy, and I'm much more a, "Mm, yes, I saw this one mechanic in, Awful Green Things from Outer Space by TSR in 1976, and I thought it was pretty neat, so what if I" like, I'm a nerd
Mhm.
about this. We got some Romero and Carmack energy going on.
Absolutely. I've got another one.
Yeah, fire.
I was thinking about TCG terms and just going mentally down the list of like jargon in the TCG industry until one hit me that I'm like, that's usable for a pun. Okay. And I got
Alright.
one.
Yeah.
Uh the game is called Ramp to Win.
Okay.
It is a skateboarding game
Ugh,
where you accelerate by like playing lands, right? Building up your resources, right?
yeah.
And then once you hit the top of the ramp, right, you are officially in the air, and then you spend those resources to perform tricks before you land.
That's dope as fuck.
I love puns, dude.
That's dude, Ramp I would play Ramp to Win. Dude, if somebody walked up to me and it's like one of them, like Sega Genesis cartridge cover looking ass skateboarder artwork dudes in like that rad 90s font, some like Cheetos shit. And it was like, it's ramp to win, and there's 2 phases. There's the mana ramp phase, and then there's the phase where you just blow your load. I'll be like, "Yeah, I'll play that. I'm in. Let's do this."
That
That's
actually brings up a great point. A common source of inspiration for me for games are hobbies and like common household objects. I've seen a lot of games out there that go, "We are a standard trading card game, except our characters are cryptids or they're neopets, right? Or
sure.
they're bugs or they're little tiny turtles, right? And
Yeah.
the problem I always have with that is the gameplay doesn't feel any different because of the thing being represented. Some of the games
So
I've
true.
designed over the years, as an example for one that I might finish someday, is designed around the cards being Polaroid photos,
Mhm.
and the Polaroids matter. The reason that they're Polaroids is important to the game and changes how the game is.
Right. It's not just like, "Oh, we're Magic the Gathering or Duel Masters again, but with this other mechanic from this other game, and this time, everything's like little green men from outer space,"
Right.
or
You don't wanna
yeah.
just be a fighting foodums.
You do not wanna be a fighting Foodons. You really don't. Dude, so this was I gotta go off on this, right? Because now I wanna talk about this, but fighting Foodons, I think, is such a fumbled ball. So bad because you could have done, like, a Pokemon parody, but they're all food, and then made it interesting. But they just didn't fucking go the distance with it. I would play a fighting Foodons styled, like, trading card game where the whole thing is, like, you're building monsters out of food. If the whole shtick was, like, you're actually, like, cooking, right? Like, you have to have an oven and you have to preheat it, and then you need this ingredient and this ingredient and this ingredient to make your monster.
Mhm.
That sounds fun. That I would play. That I would play.
Yeah, take your hobbies and use those as inspiration for your games. Like, I homebrew, maybe I'll make a game about making beer, you know?
That's dope, yeah. Um, I have a slight problem with that. My hobbies are playing card games and making card games.
Well, okay, so let's make a game all about making card games.
There you go. That's a game idea.
Let's make YouTuber Tycoon for trading card
I was
games.
just gonna say it because my other hobby is, like, making YouTube videos, and that you could do because, like, think of like this, like an editing timeline is just ripe for you to use as a game board to place cards on, isn't it? Like, there you go.
Oh, that's a whole topic we have to get into. Unique game boards are one of my favorite things, and an editing timeline's a really fun one, and it reminds me of another idea I had a while ago and then I abandoned,
Oh, yeah?
which was, using music notes, like the music, I'm not a music guy, I'm sorry, guys, like classical music sheet, how you
Yeah.
have, 4 notes to be placed per, meter. I'm so sorry, music fans. I'm not
He's
I'm
bu
not I do not know terminology. I don't know music. I'm sorry. But I always thought it would be cool where you'd have a rhythm-based system where both players are competing to put things in the note slots. And then after all things have been placed, it goes through and activates them in a linear order.
That's yeah,
Like it plays the song after the song pieces have been placed by the
that's
players.
kinda sick. Um, that kinda reminds me there was this I mean, this isn't really a game idea, I guess. This is just me saying, "Hey, this was a childhood game of mine that was awesome," but Infernal Contraption. That reminds me a lot of, like, Infernal Contraption, but in Infernal Contraption, you were a goblin making one of them goblin machines. You know the ones. You know what I'm talking
Like
about.
a Rube Goldberg
Yeah,
machine?
yeah, yeah, like one of those. Man, I should play Infernal Contraption. I haven't played that in, like, a decade, but I love that game. I need to dig out my copy of Infernal Contraption again. Just absolute, like, that game's a solid 8 out of 10. But speaking of from my childhood that I think could make, like, a cool card game. And I guess we were literally just talking about it, but, like, one idea I had kicking around in my head as we were talking about this is, like, Mousetrap constantly gets clowned on for being kind of a lame game, but I think you can do that sort of, like, Rube Goldberg simulation thing as, like, a cooler game. I really do.
Here's how you do it. You take the concept of Mousetrap, and I think the biggest problem Mousetrap has is it's not a competitive game where you're trying to catch each other's mice.
That
So you
yes.
fuse it with the game Boss Monster.
Oh, yes! That's it, dude! That's the sauce!
There you guys go. They made you another million, baby.
Dude, Boss Monster, steal that idea. That's a banger. Which, by the way, speaking of, the folks at oh, I don't remember what they're called. I don't remember the company name, but the Boss Monster people, cool people. I run into them every year at Origins. They're super nice and big respect on them constantly doing weird and wacky shit. Like, their kart racer, the Dungeon Cart. That game's dope.
It's brother-wise.
Brotherwise, that's them. Yes, thank you. They're super cool. I love those guys. So, since we brought up Boss Monster, I want to bounce to another like classic game, Top Trumps. One of my favorites, favorite classic game. I shout the praise of Top Trumps all the time, but I thought of a way to make it cooler. So, what if Top Trumps was a unique deck game? Okay, so instead of it coming in like a preset like deck every time, how you would play it is that within a series, like a Top Trump series, like let's take like the Top Gear Top Trumps. They would come in randomized packs, and how you would play it is like Keyforge, where anytime you'd be ready to play, you grab a pack, you rip it open, that's your randomized hand, and you go. I think that would be like an extra little fun layer on top of Top Trumps.
Hmm. Do you remember, like, in that era from, like, the mid-90s to mid-2000s where a lot of adult writers wanted to reference trading card games, but some of them did very well, right? Like South Park has some great references to trading card games, right? As an
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
Some of them did not do so very well. And I remember a distinct pattern of a lot of shows like cartoons and stuff that wanted to do the trading card game episode. And it
Mhm.
was instead of being like a Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon clone, it was always just top trumps. Like I think that's what I remember Teen Titans had an episode where they were playing what was clearly supposed to be a TCG, but it was clearly like the writers were only experienced with top trumps and just made top trumps.
Yeah, no, I remember that exact episode where it's, like, different elements where I'm just like, "Oh, I play my meteor on top of your tornado, so I win because
Yeah.
meteors." Yeah, it was just top trumps, yeah, yeah.
hmm Man, I'm feeling really nostalgic right now, so I've got a pitch for you related to nostalgia.
Okay.
You know how games of the 90s have a particular vibe to them? We're talking
Yeah,
trading
dude.
card games, right?
I know like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Throw up a picture of On the Edge again.
Yeah. And to be fair, like other eras, like games of the 2000s kind of have that same thing where they've got a very
Mhm.
specific vibe to them. I think games
Yes.
of the 2000 were a lot more experimental in their design. There was a lot more licensing, right? Particularly, things were more focused towards kids, right?
Yeah, like, I think the kind of the best way to describe it is, like, the '90s was, like, the tabletop RPG era of TCGs. That was kinda like the flavor everybody was shooting for, and then in the 2000s, specifically in the mid-2000s, it was, like, the cartoon era of
hmm
TCGs, and then in the 2010s, it was, like, the anime era of
And
TCGs
now the
specifically.
2020s are just are just Bandai. It's
Yeah,
all
well,
Bandai.
no, what I was gonna say, the 2020s is just the NFT era, let's be real.
Oh yeah,
Let's it's
NFTs and Bandai releasing the same game 17
woo!
times,
I
and everyone
love
else copying Bandai's
I
17
love
time release
modern
game.
TCGs. I love financial scams and Bandai slop. Yum yum.
Here's my pitch. You know how a lot of games have colors
Yeah.
as their factions? What if your factions were the different decades of TCGs?
Oh, dude, stop fucking talking. I'm already sold. That's so cool. That's
You can
fun.
even have completely separate resource systems. The 90s TCG faction
I'm
could
writing that
have
down.
a land system. The 2000s could have the shield system for dual masters, right?
Yeah.
Uh the 2010s, uh, it's not the most popular system, but the system I think of is Buddy Fight's Gauge system. It's probably the best system of that era.
Yeah, I was actually going to suggest, like, basically Bushiroad ripping, yeah, and I mean, Bushiroad pioneered the gauge system because Weiss uses it too.
Mhm.
To an extent, Vanguard does, because I mean, the damage is just gauge that your opponent chooses the pace of.
Right. And then 2020s would be, I don't know, the Dawn system, I guess.
The 2020s would be, how much is in your bank account? Bring out the credit card. That's that's your
The pay
resource
to
system.
win faction.
Yeah, you pull up Kickstarter and then, have to back whatever the current, like, pump and dump TCG Kickstarter running is for, like, the highest backer
You know
amount, and that's how
what?
you can play your cards.
New idea. Moving on. A game where you have to guess which stupid Kickstarter TCGs are going to do well.
Yes, dude! Yes! That sounds funny!
That
I
is
wanna play that.
that is literally a game I've played with like the Tabletop Aces group
Oh,
before
yeah.
in call.
Oh, yeah. I remember playing that was a fun game, dude. That was so fun. And just yeah, make a board game out of that. Make a board game where it's like, so you got, the 58th, weed-based game this month. How well
There
do you
are
think this
so
one's gonna do?
many. Why are there so many? Why are there so many? Right
Dude,
on.
every fucking day I log in to your subreddit, bro, and there is somebody posting about a weed TCG, and I have to genuinely take a minute to be like, "Okay, is this one of the 38 that I've already seen, or is this a new one?" And
Yeah.
half no, not even half. 80% is all just AI generated slop for the art.
Yeah, there are some that genuinely tried, but the vast majority of that particular genre are the most bottom of the barrel, low effort games I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And I've no qualms with the medium, right? Like I smoke more than anyone, dude.
I
But
feel
my
you.
point is, it's a pretty lazy concept. Again, it's a fighting foodons, right? Where it's just, what if we had this, but it was weed,
Dude,
right?
like, I'm gonna say something that is gonna quite probably piss off some of my clients at Speedrobo Games, but I hold like I'm gonna make a TCG about drugs, and I'm gonna make it a TCG about VTubers in roughly the same regard because they are both so overdone and such low rent of ideas, bro. Like, d- a total side tangent. But before you pick the theme of your game, do a cursory Google search to see if how many other people have done it at the same time and the same place the same way, please.
Yeah, because the
Please.
problem isn't doing something that's already popular necessarily, but particularly with the weed games, why is it that every one of them, every one I've ever seen, thinks they're the only one?
Right. Yes. Oh my
They
god.
were they're sitting on the couch, getting the munchies, and then you know how it goes. Your brain's wandering, and it's like,
Yep.
"Oh, dude, I'm gonna make a weed TCG," and
And
then they
nobody's thought of
make
that
it
idea before.
and never question to look how are the other ones doing? Are there other ones?
Yep.
Have every single other one failed? Huh?
And it's so funny because I've interviewed basically every single VTuber TCG creator at this point. I've talked to the vast majority of them, and literally every single person has told me this line. Well, when I started making it, I was the only one. And it's like every single time, bro. It's just and then you didn't stop to think, "Hey, wait, maybe I shouldn't do this." Once V-Card came out and was panned, and once Rift Runners was already a year old on the market, and once the Oshi Push Kickstarter nearly broke records, you didn't, like, stop to think, "Oh, wait, maybe don't do this." Anyway, that's a side tangent.
If there's one thing I think TCGs in particular you don't see very much of, it's like asymmetrical gameplay, which is a very hard thing to balance. I understand why it's not done, but let me give you a concept for an asymmetrical TCG. You ready?
I'm ready.
One player is playing weed. They do the weeds and the drugs, the hardcore drugs, and the other player is the DEA.
Yes! I'm in. I'm sold. That's fun. Cause you know what? Honestly, that kinda reminds me of is, like, the whole, like, runner and corpo dynamic that Netrunner has going on. So there
Mhm.
is, like, a precedent for, like, competitive asymmetrical card gaming, out there. And I'm gonna be honest, Netrunner, that game is absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, no, like, that sounds fun. Like oh, wait, genius idea, okay? Businessman marketing brain. You know that video game that's, in early access right now, Schedule One?
Yes.
Yeah, get the license for that for this game.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Boom, there you go, instant money. Instant money. Um, so on the complete opposite end of that spectrum, I'm gonna just, like, totally just 180 this. I actually have a thematic idea, and that is, you know what sells well? Super accurate military history shit.
Mhm, mhm.
I
For sure.
think genuinely, there is space in the market for, like, the war thunder of trading card games.
Hmm, I see what you're saying. I think, the struggle with that is getting people to move to that when they could be playing wargaming
I
without just making it a war game.
I hear you, but I actually am going to, like I'm entering businessman mode here now because we are seeing a shift in the market where people are downscaling their level of like lifestyle game, right? We're seeing a lot of people who were TCG heads say, well, I've got less time and money now, so now I want to play, you know, lighter games, right? They're moving to like living card games and board games. We're definitely seeing that. That is absolutely a move, and more people are wanting like single player games and smaller experiences. Well,
Mhm.
hear me out. Wargaming is the most expensive, most lifestyle game out there. And I think the wargamers, you might genuinely be able to convert them into something more trading card game like. Um, just by the nature of we're, cheaper, easier, faster playing, less of an involvement. Cause like as heavy of an investment as TCGs are, they're nothing compared to you know, flames of what is it? The little tank. There was this war game that I played that was a bunch of little tanks. I don't remember, but you know what I'm saying.
To actually help you with your argument here, um, I think one thing that TCGs can offer that is kind of unique to the, like, realistic military crowd
Mm,
is that TCGs share one thing in common with military campaigning that I don't think is represented as well in, like, war games and whatnot, and it's that the one thing that really matters in war is the same thing that matters in TCGs: resource management.
I completely agree. Yes,
I want if you're
100%.
gonna do something like that, you want to study, like, Hearts of Iron, not
Yes,
Warhammer. Hearts
I
of Iron, a game
so
where shipping routes and factories and whatnot are what matters to keeping the war going.
I so agree. I think you know what? You are so right because I think War Thunder was probably a bad, like, thematic starting point for my argument because you want the TCG that is this realistic military TCG to not be about an individual battle or skirmish. You want it to be about an entire war, an entire campaign because that's how you get the resource management supply line, pencil pushing nerd side of realistic military conflict. And I think that you are so right. That's how to make that idea sane. I really agree with that.
All right. Enough of these really heavy discussions about weed games and war games. I want to hit you with a one sentence game idea again. Okay. A game that is about numbers. Specifically, you know how we always have this debate in, like, the TCG game design community of what number system is best to use in your game?
Mhm.
Single digits, double digits, triples, quads, right?
Yep,
You know, 4,000 versus 4 versus 40. What's best for my game?
for sure.
What about a game where you use all of them? A game where specifically all your cards start off with a single digit and your way of leveling up and getting stronger and trying to beat your opponent is by adding zeros to everything.
Awesome. Love it. Good. Um, I have a
Next idea.
I have a one sentence. I have a one sentence for you. No combat, just combos.
Huh. Yeah, I think if we dive any more into that idea, we'll never get onto any others, but yes, we're gonna count that.
Yeah, that was my thought. You know,
Now we're actually having to turn our brains on.
so here's like a mechanic idea, okay? Here's something mechanic idea that I've been kicking around for a while. And we've talked about this before. The shield system, one of the best life systems ever made. Everybody uses it and there's good reason for it, right? But it
Mhm.
has a couple problems. And one of those problems is that when you deal damage to your opponent, you instantly give them a something good. Something good instantly happens to your opponent, whether it's just a hand card going in, which depending on the game could mean nothing, or it could mean everything. And then shield breaks. Shield breaks are a big, big, big part of it. And part of the issue with that is that these shield breaks come from your main deck. So there's this whole thing where it's like, oh, I'm just putting this card in because it's got a good shield break. And if it ends up in my shields, that's good. What if we kinda took, like, a page from Force of Will and had where because Force of Will was just like, "Well, it sucks having the land in the main deck, just put it in an extra deck." If it kinda sucks having the shields come from the main deck, why not just have them be an extra deck?
Why have a deck at all? Why not just like preset what you want your shields to be?
Dude, yeah, actually. No, yeah, that's good. I think one problem you'd run into that is kinda like the Argent Saga tower issue. So, like, my solution to that would just be, like, you're forced to have a set number of, like, dud shields or something, and that might help.
Actually, I've got another one that is
Yeah.
shield related, and it's relating to a game that you and I worked on because there was an idea from a game you and I helped out with that I'm like, this is not a TCG, but this idea would be so much fun in a TCG.
Mm.
That game being made by Don Father Games, Siege the King.
Dudes, I oh my god, I love Siege the
Imagine
King, bro.
Siege the King's system, but as a shield system in a TCG.
Oh my god, that's so good.
So,
Yes.
can you explain to the audience what I mean?
Yeah, so Siege of the King works like this. The goal of the game is to find the enemy king. And so you've got 3 castle cards that you lay down in front of you. 2 are empty, 1 has the king in it. If you find the enemy king, you win. So at the start of the game, both players essentially 3-card Monty, so they will know where their king is, but the opponent won't. And then you have to play attackers onto the enemy castle in order to flip it up, but your opponent can play defending cards to, like, slow you down. But if you play, like, your defending cards on, like, your dud castles, you can, like, juke your opponent and shit. And so what oh, dude, Jacob, what you've just done is you took, like, my idea of, like, an extra deck shield system and combined it with, like, the modern MetaZoo lane system.
Yeah,
C
I was
That's
about to
sick.
when it was my turn to jump in, I was gonna say, and the way you do this without it just being total luck based, right? Is one, you increase the number from 3. We don't want 3 shields. We probably want 5 or even as high as 10, right?
Yeah.
And you make it so they're lane based.
Yep.
That was exactly what I was gonna say. I did not
That's
make the meta zoo connection. You did, but
That's a
yeah.
that's a banger, actually. That's real. I'm writing that down too. That's a good one. That's going on my
And then
list.
maybe there's a phase where you can move your shields from one of the lanes to another.
Well, I just have that be like an archetypes effect, right? Like that
Yeah,
sounds
that's
like a
cool.
yeah, it sounds like a whole archetypes gimmick of like, oh, they can move their like one archetype can move their shields, one archetype can move their units. One archetype's all about like, oh, this unit, it's not just attacking this lane, but it's also attacking the ones next to it and shit. Like there's so many cool things you can do with that. That's a
I
dope game idea.
So the like lane system is a very, very popular style in the TCG market right now.
Yeah,
And I've been pretty disappointed by it
I agree.
overall
I
because I
agree.
think the concept itself is added because it inherently adds strategy, but there are very few games that make that a core part of their strategy.
My Little Pony's the only one that comes to mind that I think, like, nailed it.
I've always had this idea for a game that used a 3-lane strategy, right?
Yeah.
But, with 2 things, like, 1, uh, you would have lots of units. Actually, the game I was kind of inspired by, you're never gonna guess, okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
It was V Royale.
Dude, I fucking love V Royale.
So,
Yes.
V Royale,
Yes,
you spawn a lot of tokens in that game, right?
you do.
Lots and lots of tokens, and I always thought it would be really cool to take that system where most of the cards on your board are tokens being generated each turn, right?
Yep.
And put that together with a 3-lane system, because I think 3-lane systems can get a little annoying when you're just playing cards with, like, a Magic style resource system,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
But the twist here, is I always thought it would be, and this would be kind of impractical, don't get me wrong. It would be really cool if the way this works is both players set up, like, their 10 to 20 tokens in their 3 lanes
Yeah,
without seeing the others.
that's cool. No, you could do that because all you have to do is just, like, have a DM screen, right?
Mhm. That's exactly what you'd need. So you put a
Yeah.
DM screen between the 2 players. Each one sets up their 3 lanes, and they go, "Okay, I'm gonna put 5 of my tokens on left, 3 of my tokens center and 8 of my tokens on the right. And then after both players are ready, you reveal the screen and battle is done.
That's fun. That's so fun. I like that. That's a good idea. That's really good. Hey, Merriweather, my man, shout outs to you. Steal that idea. Absolutely steal that for like V Royale too, because that would be awesome.
I got another pun for you.
Oh, I love puns. Hit me.
A game called Salt Trade.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All
And
right.
this is a game where you have cards that are wildly overpowered. Think base set to jungle to fossil
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But each one of your cards that you play has a cost, which is giving your opponent salt. You make them
Yes.
salty, and that's their resource to play their cards and make them stronger.
That's like no, I'm kind of with it because that's kind of like the Digimon system, but like less ass because it doesn't just auto end your turn. Yeah, no, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Mhm. Like, I want a game where you can be a dick to your opponent, but know that, you're gonna get your comeuppance eventually.
Yeah. So I like that. I am gonna just completely like cut off that your whole train of thought, and I'm gonna go into my next game idea because something
Okay.
popped into my head.
Yeah, we are at the point where segues are no longer needed. We've been doing this
Segways
too
are
long.
cringe and stupid. All right, and I'm talking about the little scooters that you can ride on. Okay, so land in Magic is cringe and dumb, and it sucks that it's there, and Mana Screw's stupid. So,
We'll
hear me
fight
out.
about this later.
We listen,
My
and by fight, you mean with your lips on mine.
mm.
Mm. No, I've literally made a whole video about how, like, the land system is ass cancer. So, hear me out. What if instead of removing the lands, you keep the lands? The land system stays. And what you remove instead is all of the like sorceries and instants and enchantments. So the two card types that you have in your deck are creatures and lands. And all of your lands are also like Yu-Gi-Oh style trap cards or enchantments in of themselves. Like every land is like a dual typed card. And when you use its like spell effect, you discard it from your mana row.
Yeah, yeah. No notes. Good
Cool.
idea.
I
I
thought
got
that would
one.
be fun.
I got one.
Yeah.
Do you remember how it was a trend, a year ago or maybe 2 or maybe 77, I'm losing track of time, in the Magic community? I know I was really into this and thought it was funny, and I shared a lot with you, of people taking a Sharpie and, like, crossing out words on cards to change their effects.
Yes, dude, I love Sharpie magic.
Right. What if you turn that into a game, right, where
Yes.
every turn, like at the end of each like turn cycle, each player gets to choose like one effect or one word or one something on the opponent's card and cross it out and make it so it doesn't exist.
Dude, I love it. Yeah. No, that's fire. Um, my next idea, just random like one concept idea. What about a TCG where you don't need a table, you just hold your cards? So like you have your
Finally, dual disc gaming achieved.
right, but like I think you could do it with just like a deck box, okay? So if you have a deck box and there's like a divider in the deck box and like the front's the deck, the back's the discard pile, you hold that in one hand and each turn you draw one card and then you like do the thing and then like you discard it and shit. There you go.
Right
Done.
on. I have bad news for you.
What?
You have once again just reinvented Zatch Bell.
God fucking damn it! I did! Shit!
It lives rent free in your head,
I
doesn't
don't
it?
I wasn't even going for that this time, bro. Fuck. I didn't even it's so funny. Because that's literally what I did. Okay. All right. I have another idea. I have another idea. I have another idea.
I
Gonna
have
just
another idea. What if you took cards and you put them into a book?
shut up, Jacob. This one's original, I
But this time
promise.
it's a binder.
This one, this one is not Satch Fell, okay? Okay. This one's a thematic idea, all right? What if it's all about superheroes, but instead of like the normal superhero theme that we see where like they're punching each other or villains or even like they're grim, dark, gritty heroes or something, what if they're all like showboating superheroes? Um, it, if are you there's an anime that was called like Tiger and Bunny or something kind of thematic like that, and how you win isn't by like beating up your opponent's superheroes or anything. It is by like doing the most press releases, having the coolest costume, gathering the most fans, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I do like the idea of having more games out there that aren't combat focused, and it's really funny because I was just Googling something, because I had a kind of similar idea,
Yeah.
but from a very different, starting point. Okay, I was thinking about how we've seen a lot of games like UFS, right? Where it's like, instead of setting up a board of guys, you're the guy, right?
Yes. Oh, dude, I fucking love UFS. That game rules.
And we've seen other games like that in recent years. And I
Yeah,
was
Flesh and Blood.
thinking, what if you made that but without combat? And here's the inspiration. The video game series Princess Maker.
Yes! Yes! I
Just
love
turn
Princess
Princess
Maker.
Maker into a one versus one game where you're trying to make the best princess who like takes over the kingdom or whatever.
Dude,
You're the trainer for them, you
I
know.
will tell you this right now. If like dude, this is by the way, this weird, like, obscure licensing shit immediately makes me think of, like, TCG Co. Because they just announced, like, the Fire Force TCG the other day. Like, bro, if TCG Co. announces that they're, like, doing the Princess Maker TCG and it's this, I'm blowing my entire savings account on that, dude. It's happening. I'm so in. That sounds amazing. I want it.
I,
Um,
I think there are a lot of opportunities for trading card games to learn from board games.
I
There are
agree.
a lot board games have gotten so good at taking cool concepts and cool ideas and turning them into board games, and it's something that the TCG industry has not done really any of
No,
and
I
is
I agree.
really, really missing out on.
Like, yeah, no, I so agree.
Alright, I
This
got another
is
one.
okay, no, you go, you
Yeah,
go.
no, we gotta keep going, man.
We gotta keep going.
Okay, a game with, how do I phrase this? Now I gotta turn the idea from feeling into word. A game with a fixed number of turns,
Okay,
and the resource for the game is turns.
that's sick.
If
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
want to play a really cool card that, like, sets you up for later, it's going to cost you 2 of your finite 10 turns.
So so it's kinda like the Naruto turn counter thing,
That's the
but
thing, the turn counter doesn't matter.
right,
It is the
like
limited resource.
yeah, but so no, but, like, that's what I was gonna say. It's like the Naruto turn counter thing, but when it hits the end, it's over.
Well, let's say, like, you're going through the turns, right, and you played a big thing and it was going well, right, but your opponent destroyed it,
Yep.
and you run out of turns, but they've still got 4 turns left. They get to just keep hitting you over and over and
Yeah.
over again because you wasted your resources.
Exactly. No, that's cool. That is cool. I like it. Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Um, so I actually have an idea. I have an idea. I think probably my favorite thing about Cardfight Vanguard is that the game essentially has one card type, right? So I've
Yeah.
been thinking about how do
Well,
we
it did.
it did, and then they fucking ruined it. God, I'm talking when I by the way, when I say Card Fight Vanguard, I mean Card Fight Vanguard. None of this G shit, none of this V shit, none of this dress up shit, okay? Real missionary position, Card Fight Vanguard the way God intended. All right? One card type. So, I was thinking about like how else could you do like a one card type game? And that actually made me think of everyone's least favorite thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Pendulum monsters. And there's a cool concept with pendulum monsters where depending on what zone you play them in, that's what card type it is. And so I think you could do a whole game off of that where every card is like a spell if you want it to be, a creature if you want it to be, a land if you want it to be, right? Like something like that. I think that could be really cool.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
got
now I'm
I got another one, but this one
okay,
isn't
okay. I need time to think. Your turn.
okay.
Carry us.
Well, okay, so I'll rapid fire off a last couple ideas bouncing around in my head, and then I want to end with my final one. So my
Wait, I
next
got one.
okay,
You're a game designer and publisher and etcetera, and also a manufacturer,
yes,
right?
yes.
So one of the secrets of the trade that we can spoil right here is there are 75 million different foil patterns
Mhm.
that you could use on your cards, and they don't matter. Like it does not cost anything to choose one over the other,
Right,
right?
right.
What if that was your main mechanic?
That's cool. Yeah, depending on what the foil pattern is, now the cards that's actually kinda sick. That's kinda sick. I'm into that.
Yeah, yeah. Nice
Um,
easy one.
my next idea so mechanic idea. Um, because we're talking about wacky resource systems, and this is one I genuinely don't think I've ever seen. So, what if there's a card game where you have not just a leader like card, but like a leader deck, and your leader like levels up through the game, or maybe there's just like a level slider on its side, like the old score entertainment games. And each level represented how many permanents you could have on your field. So when you're level 1, you can only have like 1 creature or 1 land or 1 enchantment. When you're level 2, you can have 2. When it's 3, it's 3. That sort of thing.
I really like that.
That's kinda sick, right?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that one
Um,
down. That one's actually a banger. Um, Last couple ideas I had, and these are all just like different toys from my childhood that I think could like make some kind of like board game, card game comeback. Pogs. Pogs are cool, but, like, the game that you play with them is so shallow, I think you could beef it up a little bit.
Pogs Extreme.
Yeah, Pogs Extreme. I think you could do, like, a Pogs Extreme. Same with Crazy Bones. I love Crazy Bones. There's so many funny little guys and characters with Crazy Bones. Do a TCG with that. Now, here's my last one that I think actually has some meat on it, alright? Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I think you could do a, like, board game where you, like, build, like, your Rock'em Sock'em Robot layout and loadout with cards, and then you simulate the
I had a very different, very stupid vision for that.
I'm in. Here, hit me.
So, when you said Rock'em Sock'em Robots, I my first thought immediately was as a TCG, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And instantly I thought of, okay, it's 2 people set up with their boxes and stuff on their cards on the playmats,
Yeah.
and, like, every time you deal damage, you just gotta inch the 2 playmats over slightly, and the game ends when someone's playmat falls off the table.
I'm not even gonna lie, that's kinda funny.
You know, I think, one thing you'll see with a lot of the concepts I threw out here work for trading card games, but not if you're designing them to be competitive,
Correct.
and I've argued many, many times that focusing on high level competitive play often hinders what can be done, especially in the indie TCG space.
I so agree.
Uh, it's okay to make casual games, guys.
Yeah, no, and I wanna play off of that because what I was gonna say is, like, there is a market out there for high level competitive play. There really is. I mean, and it's the same with every genre. Like, there's a market out there for extremely technical, high level competitive fighting games. There's also a market out there for a Marvel Superhero Squad on the Nintendo Wii. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
there's a spectrum, and I think so often, so many people making not even just trading card games, but card games in general, really wanna try and capture the competitive market when that's a market that in so many ways is already captured by so many high quality products that, I think that other genres, other types of gamers in many ways are getting left on the table.
So you just rapid fired off a couple of like nostalgic IP,
Yeah.
right? That would make great. I want to rapid fire off the opposite.
Hit me.
We had a conversation once, it was at Gen Con,
Yeah.
about, like, modern IP that should have had trading card games that didn't.
Yeah.
Uh, can we think of a couple of those real quick?
Pal
And
World.
just oh, Power World. I mean, I was gonna say Fortnite,
Fortnite.
kinda yeah,
Dude,
it
Fortnite
had trading cards, but not a trading card game.
Fortnite definitely should have had a trading card game. I'm gonna be completely honest, it's weird Pal World doesn't have a TCG already. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Like,
It's weird to me that Five Nights at Freddy's never had a TCG.
oh, you're right. How is that possible?
People would pay big bucks for an Undertale TCG.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, 1,000,000,000%. I think a whole, like, Toby Fox TCG verse would do well. Um, Nintendo's leaving money on the table by not doing a Smash Bros. One. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Absolutely. I
Uh,
mean, so much that we're doing a Smash Bros. Game.
yeah, basically. Basically. And another shout out to Strange Machine Game, but they did Iconoclash. That's just what
The
if
most Smash Bros. Game.
it's literally they were just like, I want Smash Brothers as a board game. I'm gonna go make it. And then they got other board game IPs involved, and it's fucking dope. I love that game. Um, let's see, what's another like solid modern IP that I could see getting a card game?
The part of the problem is you gotta argue with should this get a card game or just a board game, right? Like,
Right.
one I just, like, was like, "Oh, Vampire Survivors," and then I
Yeah.
remember, "Oh, they're getting a board game right now."
Right. Glitch Productions with Murderbots and Amazing Digital Circus.
Balatro.
Dude,
Finally, Balatro card game.
Balatro already has a card game. It's Balatro. What are you what are you
Yeah, but
smoking?
now I can even play Balatro out in the woods.
Already can. It's just bring your Switch, dude. What are you on about? No.
Uh,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna move us on to my last game idea that's actually a question for you because I don't know how to do it.
okay.
One of
It's
my
terrible.
Thanks. One of my bugbears that I see with a lot of modern indie card games, and you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, is the TCGs that are like, I wanna be a hardcore TCG with shuffled decks and resources and cards that you summon over time, but I also want those cards that you summon over time to, like, slide across a game board and have, like, tactical board game movement shit in it. I
Mhm.
have yet to personally play one that, like, clicked and worked for me. I don't like the vast majority of them. So, Jacob, my question to you is, how would you do that concept and make it good?
Okay, first I'll say, in case anyone hasn't watched episodes where we've talked about this in the past, I agree with you on that. I'm not a particularly big fan of TCGs that are actually just trying to be war games, right?
Yeah,
Board positioning and TCGs, in my opinion, don't work very well together, and it's not something I particularly look for in a game. It's not that I couldn't get into a game that uses them. It's just when I'm getting excited about a new game and then I find out it has board positioning, I'm like, okay, so I like this a little less than I otherwise would. It's just a preference, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Um, I will say there is exactly one game that did it and did it with flawless execution, and it was Card City Knights.
Never heard of Card City Knights.
The trick to doing board placement, in my opinion, as someone who doesn't like board placement in TCGs, the trick to doing it is making the board placement extremely finite.
Mm.
The whole gimmick of that game and its sequel is there are only 9 spots on the board,
Oh.
and it is very easy to get, and both players are playing on those 9 spots. So it is very easy for the board to get completely filled up and locked up.
Wait. Isn't Card City Knights from that really swell indie studio that also did Slap City?
Yes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. That's been on my to play list. 'Cause they did
The
it's the same one that did,
Ludosity or whatever it's called?
yes! Yes! That's them!
Yeah, I think it's I don't know if it's Ludo City or it must be Ludosity. Yeah, they made Slap City.
Mhm.
Um,
I
and,
liked their
like,
stuff. Their
Heartwood
stuff's
Heroes is
cool.
really cool. Yeah, Card City Nights is maybe the best, video game version of a card game that is original, right? It's
Yeah.
not a digital TCG, it is a digital game inspired by TCGs, right? It has, you know, you're going through the city earning money to buy booster packs and stuff. It's not
Yeah.
like a roguelike or something like that. Um, it's like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Duel Academy video game, but with an original game, right?
That's
And
sick.
it would be the perfect game if it wasn't maybe the single most grindy game ever created.
Oh, damn. That's
Yeah,
rough.
it's
That's rough.
really rough with that, but it's a really clever concept of a game.
Cool. Well, there you go. And I think that that kinda wraps up our episode 2 because, there you go, ending it on what I always love to do in my videos, a genuine recommendation. Go check out Card City Nights.
Yeah, did we hit 100? I have no
I
idea. I stopped
genuinely don't
counting
know.
at 5.
I genuinely don't
Oh,
know.
if we missed like 30, 40, 70, 80 of them, guess it just means we'll have to do a part 2.
I guess so.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let us know which of these ideas, one, did you actually like the most and inspire you to maybe get cracking on game design, but also which one was the stupidest?
I think the dumbest was the one where when your cards take damage, you have to rip their corners off.
That one?
I think that's probably the dumbest, yeah.
That one? Oh, I'm gonna have to try harder the next time we do this because
That was
that's
probably
tame.
that was pretty bad. Tame? Tame?
Just wait for Poop Game.
Okay.
Poop Game coming
Poop Game coming
2026.
from Speedrobo Games 2027.
It's got corn.